When visiting Sapporo, you might think snow, you might think skiing, and you might think everything surrounding that. However, when my husband and I visited Sapporo in Japan earlier this year, we didn't do any of the skiing stuff. Instead, we did 3 art events in one day and made the most of every second whilst we were up there. Hi, my name's Charlotte. Welcome to my studio. So my husband and I visited Japan for the second time this year. Last year it was all about Tokyo and the south, but this year we went up north and we explored Sapporo. Sapporo is a fantastic city. We stayed directly near the train station, which allowed us so many avenues to explore both the city and the surrounding areas. One place that we decided to go was Sapporo Art Park, the Sapporo Art Park Art Gallery, and the Hill of the Buddha. I covered the sculpture park and the art gallery in my previous videos, but today is all about the Hill of the Buddha. According to Visit Sapporo website, the Hill of the Buddha is one of the top places to visit in Sapporo. Taking a snippet from their blurb, it is designed by top Japanese architect Taido Ando, in which this Buddha statue exudes spirituality. It's in keeping with the mindset of the architect that our imagination is piqued by what we cannot see. So when you approach the Hill of the Buddha, all you can see is the top of his head. The hill surrounding it covers him from the outside. And the best time of year to see this is in July. So we definitely didn't see it in its prime. This is because surrounding the Hill of the Buddha, there are thousands upon thousands of plants, all lavender. So this hill becomes a purple mound in the hills and mountains of Sapporo. And it is a beautiful, beautiful sight to see. So walking in, you do have to pay a fee for this sculpture. This Buddha is in a cemetery, and so it does have closing times. It's a place where people pray. It is a place where people come to find peace. Walking into this area, you go around a small, I want to say it's normally either a garden or a little pond, but for us it was a mound of snow. And then you look down this tunnel and you start to see the true size of this Buddha. This Buddha, to say it was huge is an understatement. I had to put my camera on 0.5 and even then it just doesn't give you the pure scale. There was low talking, there was a gong and a drum that you could hit because the constant sound is part of Buddhism. It's part of that spiritual journey to allow souls to rest, to allow peace to the mind. I don't necessarily know the rules of Buddhism, but you could tell there the spiritual energy was quite high. And being in the cemetery, you could tell a lot of people would go there to pray for their loved ones who may have been buried there. The statue itself is 13.5 meters in height and 1,500 tons. The statue is made from stones that weighed 4,000 in total before they were worked. You're able to visit between 9 AM and 4 PM between April and October, or 10 AM to 3 PM between November and March. It is closed on designated days and maintenance days. So they are constantly working on the Buddha to make sure that it's clean and that no damage has been come to it. It is a beautiful, beautiful sight, and you can really tell the care and dedication surrounding the whole area. Despite it being a cemetery though, there were a couple of interesting pieces. One of which was a Stonehenge. Now, because we live in Wiltshire, we are literally a stone's throw away from Stonehenge and its bigger sister, Avebury. So we weren't too bothered to go and see this because we can go see the real thing. However, we were really interested in the Easter heads. So if you aren't aware of Easter Island, they have very large statues on them. It's something that I never thought I would see. So to be able to go to Sapporo in Japan and visit their counterparts was really quite extraordinary. I didn't realise how big they were. They were big. They were very big. And it's really interesting to see people standing next to them to then be able to see their size. Even looking down the way where some of the smaller ones were, it was quite funny to see their appearance. They trailed all the way from the Hill of the Buddha all the way down to the central gates, which is where we stood for our bus, admiring the view and peering at the very top of the head of the Buddha. This wasn't necessarily a super arty event. However, the sculptural elements of recreating the Easter Island heads, plus creating the Buddha in this very tranquil, peaceful area, was a feat in itself. With it being a cemetery, it was a place to celebrate both death and life. And you could really see that through the way in which the sculptures intertwine themselves with the cemetery. The cemetery itself was a slightly separate part so that the individuals who were there were not disturbed by tourists like ourselves. However, the respect shown to these areas was incredibly clear, even in the snow. Seeing the Buddha itself was a beautiful experience. I am personally not a spiritual person, however, you could really tell that people, no matter where they came from, no matter who they were, really respected that space and respected the time in which they had there. Yeah, there was a lot of photos going on, but when you've got a 13.5 meter Buddha, you've got to crack a sneaky little photo in there. It's something that I probably wouldn't visit again, personally. However, it's something that I would highly recommend visiting, and do it before it shuts. We were some of the last people in there at about 2:30, so it only gave us half an hour to really explore the area and see the Buddha in all its glory. His little top of snow did make me giggle, and it really showed you that the Buddha is up against the elements, like all of us are, despite how protected that we may be. It's a true journey into something that I didn't quite expect that day. However, after visiting 3 places, the Sapporo Sculpture Park, the art gallery attached, and now the Hill of the Buddha, we were very ready to go back to our hotel, eat some amazing food, and rest for the rest of the evening. I do have some more art galleries and displays that I'm going to share on my channel as part of my Japan series. So if you have enjoyed watching this, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.